Hey, what is up guys, this is Forever Lone Yugioh back again with another Duel Links video. This is a discussion video about the new up-and-coming main box in Duel Links, which is Primal Burst. Now, you've probably already seen the in-game notifications and you probably already checked this page out, so I won't go too long into it. I just want to talk about the archetypes, take a look into the archetypes, what kind of combos we can use it with, and also maybe its place in its current meta or in the future meta. Let's start with probably one of the most hyped archetype in this box, which is Dark World. The first card that we have as a UR, so ultra rare, very expensive card, Dark World Lightning. So this is one of your discard outlet. In Dark World, we usually differentiate between discard fodder and also discard outlet, right? In the TCG, for example, usually we kind of balance it out, but yeah, TCG is another different story. totally different cards available, so it's not even comparable. So first things first, we have Dark World Lightning, very simple card. Target one set or spell, target one set card on the field and destroy that target, then discard. Do I think this card is good? I would say this card can be good, but it's not very reliable in the sense that if you target a chainable spell or trap on your opponent actually chain it, then you essentially go -1. So you can't always rely on this in that sense. The next card is Snow, Unlight of Dark World. So this is essentially just Dark World card in general. This is probably the best and also the best in Duel Links. First is because its stat is actually not bad. I mean, 1700 attack is quite respectable. It's not the best as of right now, but it's respectable. It's not that small either. I mean, it can get over Electro, so that's something. And it's essentially your searcher card. So what else can you ask, right? Next we have is, yeah, who else? The trio here, Beige, Bro, and Brawn. Also the next one, Scar. Yeah. So Scar is bad. You don't want to use it. This card doesn't have a place in the Dark World deck. Brawn, I think, might have a place, honestly, because as of right now we don't have that many discard outlet. What we have right now is Dark Smoke, which will be included in this box also. Dark Smoke, which is a trap card, Dark World Lightning, Drag Down, Trance Archfiend. These are the four discard outlet that we have. Drag Down, however, you can only play one because it's a level up rewards from Ishizu. So in that sense, you can only play triple Dark World Lightning, triple Dark Smoke if you want, but playing triple Dark Smoke, in my opinion, it's kind of cloggy. The fact that it's also a trap card, so that means let's find Dark Smoke real fast in here. It is also a trap card, so in that sense you have to wait one turn before you can go off. But in my opinion, Dark Smoke is probably one of the better or the more reliable discard outlet that you have, given that it's kind of dependent on what your opponent has in their graveyard. Like if your opponent doesn't have any monster in their graveyard, you cannot activate Dark Smoke. So because the banishing, the targeting part is a condition, so you cannot attempt to activate Dark Smoke if your opponent doesn't have any monster in their graveyard. So in that sense, it's more reliable in my opinion than Dark World Lightning. But the payoffs, obviously Dark World Lightning is actually far better, far more powerful. If you can pull Dark World Lightning off, it's really powerful. But in my opinion, Dark Smoke is more reliable as a discard outlet, and the fact that you can only have one and use it over and over again, that's good. Also, another thing about Dark World Lightning is that Snow can actually search Dark World Lightning, so that's one more point for Lightning, I guess. Let's talk about the other. Oh, I forgot Ceruli. Long story short, I think this card is bad. This card, I think, you would probably see some people try to play this, but you have to play Rainbows, honestly, as a pair for this card. Because without Rainbow and Ceruli pair, this card is really lackluster in my opinion. Continuing to Beige and Bro. For Beige, this card is basically a free special summon, right? So if you say, for example, you normal summon Trans Archfiend, you discard Beige and you can get Beige back. But is it actually give you some sort of advantage on the field? Not really. I mean, having more monster is good, but not when it's something as small as Beige. I mean, Beige is just 1600. It's on par with Electros. It can barely get over something at this current meta, honestly. So, in my opinion, Beige is not the best discard fodder, at least as of right now. Bros, I think, fall under the same categories. Honestly, why these two cards is very used in the TCG is very different. Beige, you use it for Greyfa, while Bro, you use it because you have the field spell and also Darkwood Dealings, and also drag down is on. You can have 3 drag downs on the TCG, but in Duel Links we don't have any discard outlet that also allows you to draw. So in that sense, in my opinion, Bro is really lackluster. In my opinion, there are better discard fodder, which comes to the normal monsters, which are Kaki, Gren. This is right, yeah, Kaki and Gren. These two cards is probably, in my opinion, the better discard fodder as of right now, simply because they give you an instant field advantage. In combination, for example, with Darkwood Lightning, you simply destroy 2 cards, which is really strong for Duel Links in my opinion. I think I missed some, yeah, Rainbow and also Latinum, I think. This is Rainbow. Rainbow, this card is I think it's a love and hate. Love or hate, not love and hate. Love or hate kind of card. You can only use Rainbow if you also use Ceruli. Aside from Ceruli, there are no other like very make sense kind of a way to actually use this card. So if you want to play this, you kind of have to play triple Ceruli as well. And the thing is that if you play Ceruli, you cannot play Drag Down. For example, you play Drag Down and you have Ceruli and Rainbow and on your hand. Well, your opponent is obviously going to choose Rainbow, and the effects won't go off because they have to be discarded by your opponent's effect. If you want to play Rainbow plus Ceruli, I mean, if it goes off, it can be really powerful. Honestly, it's really strong. However, consider the consistency that you will pull this through or pull this off. I think it will just be some sort of a YouTube deck, if not more. But as in a competitive, I don't see Ceruli Rainbow combos actually really good, honestly. I mean, some people probably you can probably pull it off every now and then, but not consistent enough that you can call it like a proper tier 1 or tier 2 decks, honestly. Yeah, and the next one we have is I think Latinum. Yeah, Latinum. Latinum is, I think, the one with the better defense. Yeah, this card is discarded to the graveyard by card effects. These cards pretty much have the same problem as Rainbow. Your opponents have to be the one who discard this card for it to be special summoned. So this card is not really viable. But yeah, if you probably want to play Ceruli, you probably want to play some of this, but honestly, it's just not very good. Now let's take a look at some of the discard outlet that we can use for Dark Worlds that are available right now in Duel Links. Let's start with maybe the more irrelevant one, Beckoning Light. Oh, by the way, if you does not know how to differentiate between, because discarding in Yu-Gi-Oh, it has 2 things: discard as an effect and also discard as a cost. The difference is that Dark World's effect can only be activated if the discard is part of the card's effect rather than the cost. So how do you know whether a card is actually discarding as a cost or discarding as an effect? It's actually very simple. Let's take a look at Beckoning Light here, for example. It says discard your entire hand, comma, then for each card you discard it to the graveyard. By this effect, add 1 light monster from your graveyard to your hand. So using this card, you activate it, discard your entire hand, and then you take a light monster, and then you get to the Dark World's effect will go off, because this discarding part is not cost, rather it's a part of the whole effect. However, if you take a look at something like this Tribute to the Doomed. In here it says discard one card, comma, then target one monster on the field, semicolon, destroy it. The parts before the semicolon, so in this part, discard one card, comma, then target one monster on the field, semicolon, those are part of the cost and condition. So you can only activate Tribute to the Doomed if there is one card in your hand as a cost and also one monster on your, not on your opponent's field, but just one monster on the field as a condition. Aside from that, you cannot activate this card. So the part before the semicolon are costs. However, the part after the semicolon, which says destroy it, is the effect. The simple way to see is just from the semicolon, basically. Anything that goes before the semicolon are costs, after the semicolon's effect. So Beckoning Light here doesn't have any semicolon, so that means it is a part of the effects. Another discard outlet that we have here is probably the more well-known one for Dark Worlds player, Drag Down into the Grave. Very simple, both player reveal their card, each choose one card from their opponent's hand, then you discard the chosen card from both players' hand. Then both players draw one card. I think you probably already know that even though your opponent chooses what card, it doesn't actually, the effects of, for example, Rainbow doesn't actually proc off this, so yeah, it is still treated as your card, even though your opponent is the one who chooses it. You can only get one of these from Aishizu level up rewards. I believe it's like level 35 or something like that. It's quite high level, but we only have one so far in this game. And the thing with this card though is that you can't really play Ceruli with this because Ceruli have a really bad synergy with this card. The next one is actually the more relevant one and the more, in my opinion, the more reliable one so far. Trance Archfiend. So once per turn you can discard one Fiend type monster, and if you do, this card gain 500 attack until the end of this turn. This card doesn't rely on whatever your opponent has, unlike Dark World Lightning. For example, if your opponent doesn't have any set spell or traps, and maybe they just play, I don't know, one Dakini and one Senju on the field, and they don't have any set cards, then you can play your Dark World Lightning. It's very reliable on what your opponent has. Same goes with Dark Smoke. Dark Smoke also relies on whether your opponent has a monster on the graveyard, which generally they would probably have one or two, so it's more reliable in that sense. And Trance Archfiend, but Trance Archfiend doesn't rely on anything. It's purely you can go off by yourself. So in that sense, it's the better discard outlet in my opinion. However, it is a monster. You kind of have to normal summon it before you can use it. So there is one downside to it. However, in my opinion, like I said before, this is probably the best discard outlet for Dark Worlds as a moment. The next one we have is Saphira, Queen of the Dragons. Draw 2 cards, then discard 1 card. This card here, this effect here is not a cost, it's part of the whole effect. So you can draw 2 cards, then discard 1 card, and then the Dark Worlds card will procs, no problem. I think there's one more, yeah, Bone Temple Block. This card, I think we got it during the Duelist Kingdom event. This card here, discard 1 card, special summon 1 level 4 or lower monster from your opponent's graveyard to your side of the field, and your opponent special summon 1 level 4 or lower monster from your graveyard to your opponent's side of the field. The part of the discarding in here is also not a cost, so it is a effect. It's part of the whole effect. However, will it be relevant? Like, would you rather use this than say a Dark Smoke? Obviously, people would rather use Dark Smoke. This card is obviously not relevant. I mean, I'm talking about the Bone Temple block thing. Saphira here could be an interesting like build. Honestly, Saphira Dark World sounds kind of interesting. But yeah, honestly, realistically, competitively as well, in my opinion, only Trance Archfiend and Dragdown's actually the relevant one. So to recap, a Dark World deck would probably look something like 2 or 3 Dark World Lightnings, triple Snow, 1 Dragdown, that's for sure, 2 or 3 Trance Archfiend. I'm leaning towards 3, and maybe 2 or 3 Dark Smoke, but I think drawing multiple Dark Smoke is actually kind of bad, so people probably only play two of these Dark Smoke. And the actual discard fodder, I think it's more of a preference. I think these are like the core decks. The discard fodder is probably depending whether you want to play more of the smaller guy like the Khaki Gren or Beige Brow. Honestly, Brow is really lackluster. Probably people will play Beige on, or maybe a Ceruli Rainbow, but honestly I don't think it's that good. The combination, I mean. Now, do I think Dark World will be good? I think it can be, depending on the meta, honestly, because Dark World Lightning can have serious control power, especially if the meta develops into something where a lot of people starting to set cards that is not chainable. So in that kind of state, Dark World Lightning can be really powerful. So if the meta becomes something like that, then Dark World can be serious power, especially because Dark World Lightning, you can search it with Snow. So you use Dark World Lightning, pitch Snow, and then you can get another Dark World Lightning, for example. Then you can go from there. So in that sense, Dark World can have a really potential, a really powerful control potential. However, it's also depending on your matchup. Obviously, something like a Neptis matchup or something like Cyberlegion matchup, I don't think Cyberlegion would be relevant anyway. But if aside from that, Hazy does set some cards, but they also have a Beast Risings. Aside from that, what else? Gladiator Beasts do play a lot of chainable cards, so it's not really good for Gladiator Dark World Gladiator matchup. Simply because if you target a impenetrable tag, then they will just simply chain the impenetrable tag, then you go -1. Ancient Gear can be actually a good matchup because the Ancient Gear likes to set something like what do you call this? A Wall of Disruptions. Walls of Disruption is a really easy target. However, obviously, Ancient Gear also play a lot of other chainable. A lot of decks actually play a lot of chainable cards. So in that sense, Dark World Lightning will have some troubles to control. So taking this into consideration, I think Dark World people would try it, but I don't think it would be that big. Also, another factor is because Dark World Lightning and Snow is a UR card, so that's further limit people from playing this. However, Dark World Lightning does have a really favorable matchup against something like deck mill, like Thea Mill, simply because that deck likes to set. Yeah, that's my take on it. What do you think about this archetype? So that's it from me, guys. I will continue to talk about the other archetypes in the next video because this video has been taking a bit too long. And see you guys next time. Bye.